Hey everyone, and welcome! We're about to completely change the way you think about willpower. I want you to just throw out the idea that it's something you're either born with or you're not. Because today, we're going to explore willpower as what it really is, a skill. One that you can actually train, strengthen, and totally master.
So, let's just kick things off with this one huge question. What if self-control isn't some fixed personality trait? What if it's more like a muscle? A skill you can actually build up from scratch. You know, this one simple shift in how you see it can unlock some absolutely incredible success in your life. So let's dive into how that works.
Okay, so to really get a grip on just how powerful this skill is, I think it helps to first look at what happens when it's just not there. And we're going to do that through a really powerful real-world story.
And that story revolves around a guy named Travis Leach. His journey is really going to be our guide through all of this. He's a perfect example of someone whose life was completely transformed once he started treating willpower like a skill to be mastered.
You see, Travis had a really tough start. His childhood was, well, chaotic, to say the least. He grew up in a home where his parents were struggling with addiction, and that whole environment just left him feeling small, powerless, and completely out of control. And that feeling had a huge impact on him.
So fast forward to when he's a young man trying to hold down a job. Those feelings of helplessness, they followed him right into the workplace. He hadn't built up any self-discipline, so any little bit of stress would cause him to just explode, either in a fit of rage or he'd just break down crying. He simply didn't have the tools to manage his own emotions. But believe it or not, that was all about to change.
Okay, so how on earth does someone like Travis make that kind of a turnaround? Well, to get that, we need to dig into the science of willpower. And it all starts with this brilliant metaphor.
And this is the absolute key, you guys. Willpower is the single most important habit for success. It's actually a better predictor of success than IQ. But, and this is a big but, it acts just like a muscle. If you use it too much, it gets exhausted. And this isn't just some fluffy metaphor. You can actually measure this. It's a real physical thing.
And there's this fantastic experiment that just perfectly illustrates how this willpower muscle works, and, more importantly, how it gets completely drained.
Okay, picture this. You're a college student, you walk into a lab, and it smells amazing, like warm, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. The first group of students, Group A, gets to just dig in and eat the cookies. But poor Group B, they have to use every ounce of their self-control to ignore the cookies and eat radishes instead. Afterward, both groups were given a really difficult puzzle and told to solve it.
And what happened next was, honestly, it was kind of shocking. The group that got to eat the cookies, they worked on that puzzle for a long time. But the radish group, they gave up super quickly. So what was going on?
It's because their willpower muscle was completely fried. Forcing themselves to eat those radishes while staring at delicious cookies had totally drained their self-control. They gave up on the puzzle a full 60% faster than the other group. I mean, think about that. They just didn't have any mental energy left to keep going.
Okay, so if our willpower is like this muscle that gets tired, or a battery that runs out, what do we do about it? How do we manage it so we don't crash? Well, the solution is actually pretty simple. Proactive planning.
The secret, it turns out, is to spot your inflection points. These are those super predictable moments of pain, stress, or temptation. You know what I'm talking about. It's the angry customer who walks up to your desk. It's that 3 p.m. slump when you crave a cookie. It's the moment the alarm goes off for that workout you dread. By planning for these moments, you can basically automate your response and save your willpower for when you really need it.
And the proof for this is just wow. There was a study with patients who were recovering from painful hip surgery. They had one group just write out a detailed plan for how they would handle the pain and get through their physical therapy. The result? The people who wrote the plan started walking again, get this, twice as fast as the others. They had a pre-made script for their brain to follow, so they didn't have to use willpower to force themselves through the pain.
And this is exactly the kind of thing Starbucks taught Travis. For dealing with angry customers, they have a routine called the LATE method. By just practicing this framework over and over, employees don't have to dip into their willpower reserves to figure out how to react under pressure. They just follow the habit, which keeps their emotions in check and their willpower muscle fresh.
But it's not just about having a plan. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and it taps into something really deep inside all of us, a fundamental human need. And that is the need for autonomy. That feeling that we are in control of our own lives and our own choices.
It turns out that when we feel a sense of control, our ability to focus, to persevere, to use our willpower, it just skyrockets.
I mean, think about the opposite. This quote just nails it. When people feel like they're just a cog in a giant machine, that they have no say, no control, all that energy and focus just vanishes. A sense of agency is basically the fuel for our willpower.
And this, right here, is what changed everything for Travis. Starbucks didn't just give him a routine. They gave him training, tools, and the authority to make his own decisions to solve problems. Suddenly, he wasn't that helpless kid from his childhood anymore. That green apron became his shield, because for the first time, he felt empowered and in control of his situation.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. How do we actually start building this willpower habit in our own lives? It really helps to think about it with one last, super simple analogy.
Just think of your willpower like the battery on your phone. If you go into your day with no plan, every little decision, every unexpected stressor, every temptation is going to drain that battery. You'll be in the red by noon. But when you create habits and routines for your inflection points, it's like putting your brain in power-saving mode. You preserve all that precious energy for the things that truly matter.
So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. What's the one inflection point in your day that always drains your battery? What's one simple plan, one little routine you can create for it, starting today?